citizens of the Nigelverse. It is Nigel here once again, and this is going to be another wrestling review. So, today we're reviewing an event that happened yesterday, and that is Night of Champions. And considering what went down, I picked the wrong time to wear this shirt. Although, the only reason I'm wearing this is because this is the only clean WWE shirt I have. But, still, we'll get into all that. But, of course, Night of Champions taking place from Riyadh in Saudi Arabia. The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, of course. And a lot went down at this event. And but as always, I'm not professional wrestling reviewer or analyst, just a man who enjoys a good time. And I had a pretty decent time watching this show. So this took place at 1 p.m. The event started, and by the time I had to go into work by 3:30, literally the only match I didn't see, which I had to watch later, was Roman and Solo versus Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. The rest happened before that. In fact, when I was clocking into work, Cody versus Brock just finished up. So, yeah, but yeah, without further ado, let's get right into it. So, for those of you who've seen these reviews before, you kind of already know how this works. But for those of you who haven't, I'm going to be talking about what I liked and disliked about each and every match. And normally how I do it with like these events, like the pay-per-views and stuff, or premium live event, however you refer to it, usually I go match by match, and I talk about them. Not really like a set pros and cons area. More so, kind of just talking about the match, at least. Versus when I do like an individual match, I talk about the pros and cons. But yeah, without further ado, let's get right into it. Starting off with the finals for the World Heavyweight Championship. So I guess they're not calling it the WWE World Heavyweight Championship anymore, just the World Heavyweight Championship, which I think also makes sense because apparently this is going to continue the lineage of the original World Heavyweight Championship that was introduced in WWE in 2002, that was gifted to Triple H. Why? Just because. Stop asking questions. But nevertheless, we have Seth freaking Rollins battling AJ Styles for the World Heavyweight Championship, and Seth Rollins actually defeating AJ Styles to become the new World Heavyweight Champion. And this was a pretty solid match. Of course, Seth Rollins and AJ Styles have faced off in the ring before, more famously at Money in the Bank 2019, if I'm not mistaken. But here they're going again, and I think out of all these matches, this is the match I was perhaps the most excited for, and definitely delivered. Did I like this one as much as their encounter at Money in the Bank? For me, it's probably it's probably split down the middle. Well, both pretty solid matches. This was a pretty good match as well. Same with their one at Money in the Bank. But I think the one at Money in the Bank might edge this one out just a smidge. But still a pretty decent match. Both men going blow for blow. Seth tweaking his knee a little bit, which played into the storyline. Sadly, didn't always sell it, but glad to see that came into the storyline. AJ Styles even delivering freaking pedigree, if you can believe it, which was insane. But Seth Rollins winning the World Championship, which a lot of people expected, as did I in my prediction video on System Shock Radio episode 105, which dropped yesterday. So if you haven't already, go check out that episode. But hey, yeah, so Seth Rollins won. Triple H was there to hand the world title to Seth. I don't know why, but I thought Triple H was going to turn on him, but I forgot Triple H's days in the ring are over, sadly. But yeah, so Seth winning the World Heavyweight Championship. But something interesting that he mentioned. So, later on in the show, which the reason that this match was on first was because apparently Seth was going to leave right after, but he did have a little interview segment with Byron Saxton, so I'm guessing that was like pre-taped. But Seth Rollins was going to head out, possibly so he could film the movie, which is interesting because Seth Rollins said he's going to be there on Raw and every week after that. So, either he's lying, which I hope not, because it would look really awkward considering all the crap he gave Roman for not being there anymore, or he probably found some workaround. I imagine it has been announced that he's going to have a major part in the Captain America New World Order film, so probably like a smaller role that he's going to play, so he probably won't be taking that much time off to film that so that might be why he pieced out so early, so he can get that done, so congratulations to Mr. Seth Rollins here. Then next up was Trish Stratus battling Becky Lynch. Bit of a surprise. I did not expect Trish to win this match. This match was pretty decent for the most part. Trish showing for the most part that she still got it, and Becky losing only because Zoe Stark interfered. Or Zoe Stark was under the ring, and then while Trish had the ref distracted, Zoe Stark attacked Becky Lynch, and I think busted her nose. But Trish then delivered the Stratusfaction, picking up the win here. Like I said, didn't expect Trish to actually go over Becky, but I guess this means that the story between them is not over just yet. And now we gotta see how Zoe Stark is going to come into the story. I imagine it'll probably lead to Lita and Becky Lynch possibly going against Trish Stratus and Zoe Stark, but that's also pretty nice that Trish Stratus is gonna potentially be taking Zoe Stark under her wing and kind of giving her the rub and everything, and to help establish her. Of course, Zoe Stark, recent call-up from NXT, so her aligning herself with Trish Stratus, I think, is a pretty smart move, and it's actually a pretty exciting one. And I've seen some of Zoe Stark in NXT, and she was pretty cool. Also, I can't wait to see how she does on the main roster, especially now that she's aligned with Trish Stratus. And it's crazy to think that in 2023, Trish Stratus is now featured in a more regular role on TV, and even last year as well. This kind of starting last year, and now we're working its way towards this year. To see Trish Stratus in more like a regular role on TV is pretty cool. But next up was the Intercontinental Championship match as Gunther battled and defeated Mustafa Ali. Pretty solid match between the two. If I could draw a comparison, this is the type of match, this match between these two is the type of match that Brock Lesnar should have had against Ricochet a couple years ago in Saudi Arabia, where even though we all knew Ricochet wasn't going to win that match, they should have at least put on a competitive match, but that one ended up being squashed. But this one, even though we knew Mustafa Ali wasn't going to beat Gunther, still put on a really solid performance, and Gunther continuing to have really good matches as an Intercontinental Champion, and this one against Mustafa Ali, no different. They mentioned on commentary Mustafa Ali has not won a single championship yet in WWE, and that is honestly sad. He definitely should have had at least a couple championships under his belt. And if you can believe it, apparently he was supposed to win the WWE Championship at WrestleMania 35 in 2019 before the whole Kofi Mania thing happened. And whether that's true or not, it is up for debate. But that would have been crazy. But sadly, still not. But I'm sure Mustafa Ali will definitely capture championship gold at some point. But yeah, really solid match here, and Gunther retaining. And I think the reason I kind of compared it to Brock Lesnar and Ricochet, saying this is the match they should have had, is this one is because even though Mustafa Ali is smaller and Gunther is obviously bigger, Gunther is still pretty agile for a man his size. Gunther is very agile for a man his size. It is impressive how agile he is, especially with things kind of like the shotgun drop kick that he hit Mustafa Ali with, and of course the splash he does from the top, which he actually didn't do in this match. But also the whole small guy versus big guy dynamic, a David Goliath battle, of course, seeing how Mustafa Ali maneuvered around Gunther and even showing a bit of his strength at times against Gunther was pretty impressive. But next up was the Raw Women's Championship as Asuka battled Bianca Belair. Bianca Belair, of course, defending against Asuka, but Asuka becoming the new Raw Women's Champion, and kind of a cool creative finish with Asuka spraying the mist on her hand and using it to rub it in Bianca Belair's eyes to blind Bianca Belair, and then deliver the kicks in order to win. And I thought it was pretty cool, and it adds a little wrinkle to that storyline, and to potentially continue this storyline, I imagine. And this, of course, a rematch from WrestleMania 39, aka WrestleMania Goes Hollywood. But so I imagine they're probably going to have the rubber match, aka the tiebreaker match, likely at Money in the Bank. But I don't think Bianca Belair should win it back. I think Asuka should hold it for a little while. And was actually pretty decent between the two. Do I like it as much as their match at WrestleMania? Not, probably not. Honestly, I think the one at Mania was better, but this one was still okay for the most part. Then next up, Rhea Ripley battling Natalya and defeating her to retain the SmackDown Women's Championship. It was Natalya's birthday, so WWE picked out the perfect birthday present by having Natalya being squashed in about a minute and 10 seconds. Happy birthday! Hey, like this one was why was this match here? Like, if you were just gonna do a squash match, you could have did this on like SmackDown or Raw, because Rhea Ripley's on Raw, even though she's still the SmackDown Women's Champion, and which is weird. But yeah, so Rhea soundly defeating Natalya, quickly defeating Natalya. Natalya did not get any offense, and of course Dominic Mysterio distracting Natalya to start off the match, and then just from there Rhea just beat the crap out of Natalya, and then put her away with the Riptide in order to win. Like I said, this squash match you could have did on like Raw, and it wouldn't have the same. It would have had pretty much like the same impact. And again, happy birthday, Natalya. But then next up was Brock Lesnar battling Cody Rhodes, and Brock Lesnar actually defeating Cody Rhodes. He had Cody in the Kimura and actually like sat up with it. And they actually did the spot twice. Which how Brock defeated Cody was the second time around they did it. And of course, Cody going into this match with the kayfabe broken arm. This opens kayfabe, but Brock Lesnar exploiting the arm, locking the Kimura. Cody fighting out of it the first time around, but not able to fight out of it the second time around. Telling the clear story of Cody not tapping out, but instead passing out as Brock had him in the Kimura. I think, and kind of able to have their cake and eat it too, who is not something uncommon that WWE's done. They've done this kind of spot before where like the face looks valiant in defeat, where they didn't tap out, but instead passed out. Another example I can give is when Stone Cold Steve Austin passed out in the Sharpshooter at WrestleMania 13, which I also reviewed. So if you haven't already, go check out that review against Bret Hart. But yeah, so in the way it kind of protects Cody, and it does set up for again another tiebreaker rematch, potentially at Money in the Bank between the two. And if this match wasn't no holds barred, then I think their match at Money in the Bank should be or some other type of stipulation match, because obviously they're building up a feud between these two, and building that up and everything. So the next match between the two, if they have a tiebreaker match, if the feud ends here, then forget it, I guess. But if they have a tiebreaker match, then it should be a stipulation match of sorts. And then finally, well, I guess we know where all the time went for the show. As Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn battled the Bloodlines, Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa, and Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn actually retaining with some unlikely help from the Usos. Yeah, the Bloodline is apparently totally severed at this point. Like, the Bloodline is potentially no more. First of all, this is the longest match of the night at 26 minutes and 25 seconds. So I guess that explains the squash from earlier, or it might have to give this match enough time. Not the first time WWE's done that, and I know it won't be the last. But also, this match took a little bit to actually really get going, and I noticed that a lot in like Roman Reigns matches. They take a while to like get going. Like, Roman will spend a lot of time jaw jacking and like talking smack either to his opponent or to the crowd or to Paul Heyman, and kind of like talking with Paul Heyman, or all three, just like walking around and stuff. And he's done that a lot. He's done that almost every match since he became the tribal chief and everything. And not gonna lie, it can get a little annoying at times, but thankfully the match really picked up. Once it started, it just kept going, Roman and Solo interact with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, and Roman kind of cowering away at times, Solo getting a lot of time to shine, and as I mentioned, the Usos They showed up initially trying to help Roman and Solo, instead accidentally kicking Solo. But Roman pushed away Jimmy and Jay. Finally, Jimmy had enough, snapped, kicked Roman twice. Told Jay that they're on their own now. They gotta get out of there because of course they upset the tribal chief and pretty much cost him the match. And then Owens and Zayn putting away Solo in order to pick up the victory. So Solo ends up eating the pin, but Roman still lost, which it wasn't the first time done. Ironically, also with Sami Zayn when Roman and Sami took on John Cena and Kevin Owens. I imagine Roman probably isn't going to eat his first pinfall in 3 years. There's, of course, the last time Roman was pinned was in December 2019 against Baron Corbin, of all people, if you can believe it. But I imagine Roman's probably not going to get pinned until he loses the championship. But now we'll have to see where the story goes from here, how the Usos will play into it, how that feud's gonna go about. Likely gonna lead to Roman and Solo versus the Usos, likely at Money in the Bank, so that Roman will have an opponent for SummerSlam to defend the undisputed WWE Universal Championship, which Roman still has both belts. Why not just combine them already? You already have the World Championship on Raw. Just combine the undisputed WWE Universal Championship belts into one belt and just be done with it. Yeah, so there's that. Seeing the story unfold, cinema, absolutely, and seeing how the Bloodline story has evolved. Some people have questioned, was this the plan all along? Was this kind of did this justify them continuing the whole Bloodline story after WrestleMania? My answer is yes and no. I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of on the fence because on one hand, and of course they're continuing the amazing storytelling, but on the other hand, why not have this start with Roman losing the titles and then him projecting onto the Usos, which Roman kind of doing some projecting onto the Usos anyway. With the Usos losing their title, was Roman kind of starting to lord over the Usos more, and leading to the Usos snapping here, or more so Jimmy Jay looked still a bit on the fence about it, but you probably could have had both, but we'll have to see how the story unfolds from here. But ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for this review. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If I had to pick the strongest and weakest match of the night, the strongest, I think I'd probably go with either Seth Rollins and AJ Styles, or possibly Gunther and Mustafa Ali, I should say. My apologies. And then for the weakest match, I gotta go with Rhea versus Natalya, only because that was really a squash match, and it was barely a match. But nevertheless, that's gonna do it for this review. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe, share it with your friends, turn on post notifications so you know every time I upload a video, so you can see as soon as it drops. Let me know in the comments below your thoughts on the pay-per-view and your thoughts on my review of it. Did you dislike the event? Did you dislike my review of the event? And I imagine now how the peace talks are there between Syria and Saudi Arabia, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, for that matter, will likely be at more events going forward. And Sami Zayn even introducing him and Kevin Owens in Arabic, which was really cool. But I imagine they're gonna be there more often. And the Saudi shows, thankfully, I think the Saudi shows ever since WWE started touring again after COVID and everything have been pretty solid for the most part, which is nice. So I guess we're gonna continue to see that going forward. Hopefully, that is. But thank you all so much for watching. I will see you guys later. Peace. Alright, hello citizens of the Nigelverse. It is Nigel here once again, and this is going to be another wrestling review. It's time to cash in your chips, raise the stakes, and insert one other gambling reference here. It's time for AEW's Double or Nothing, which took place in this Las Vegas suburb of Paradise, Nevada, but they called it Vegas throughout the show. For starters, I'm not a professional wrestling reviewer or analyst, just somebody who enjoys a good time, which, for the most part, I had a pretty good time, for the most part, watching the show. This, of course, took place at the same exact time as NXT Battleground. So these two shows took place literally at the same time, same starting time, and everything. And I mentioned this in my prediction video over on System Shock Radio, which if you haven't already, go check out episode 105. That it's the first time since 1989 that two events and two promotions did major events head-to-head like at the same time. And the last time, according to the wiki here, was WrestleMania 5 and WCW's Clash of the Champions 6. So, and Shawn Michaels said this wasn't on purpose. The reason he gave is that normally at least according to him, so this is his words, so take them with a grain of salt. According to him, a lot of WWE shows do better or around like the weekend of a holiday. Of course, this is Memorial Day weekend, Memorial Day being technically today because it is about midnight as I'm recording this. So having it the weekend of a holiday apparently allows us to perform better. Or whether you believe that or not is up to you, but nevertheless, we have that here. So what I decided to do, I decided to watch Double or Nothing tonight, and then I'm gonna go back and watch NXT Battlegrounds technically today, because after midnight, but and then the review will be out on tomorrow/Tuesday. And also on Wednesday will be the crime analysis, and I decided I'm going to go with Jared Fogle. So Wednesday will be the Jared Fogle crime analysis. And I did want to do one more video game for Awful Month, but because I don't think I'm going to be able to have it done in time, it'll be postponed until sometime down the line. I definitely want to review it, especially because I've come too far to turn back in this game, but I'll tell more about it when we actually get to that review. But as for the show itself, let's get right into it. So the only match that I didn't see was the Hardys and Hook battling Ethan Page and the Guns, and as that was on the pre-show, aka the buy-in, and the Hardys and Hook picked up the win, which I predicted they would. And it says they won by submission, which is I'm guessing Hook probably locked in the Red Room. So the stipulation, as it's listed here, is that since the Hardys and Hook won, Matt Hardy took ownership of Ethan Page's contract. So I guess that means Ethan Page is either now a part of like the Hardy family. I'm guessing I forget the exact name that is called, or Ethan Page is just done. The firm is done and everything. But nevertheless, getting into the show proper, we actually kicked off with the Blackjack Battle Royal for the AEW International Championship, as Orange Cassidy took on 20 other people who you knew he wasn't going to lose to. But this match was pretty fun for the most part. A lot of spots and everything in there, some interesting stuff, including the Luchadors, which was Penta, Rey Fenix, Bandito, and Commander are all teaming up, helping each other out. And then we also get some interactions with some rivals and some former friends turned rivals, such as like Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland, which Swerve Strickland and Orange Cassidy made it down to the final two. Seeing perhaps the story continuing with like the best friends potential dissension, as Orange Cassidy kind of inadvertently eliminated Chuck Taylor, whereas Orange Cassidy was ducking as Big Bill was taking out Chuck Taylor, or actually I think it was Swerve that took it. No, it was Lee Moriarty, or was it? Yeah, I forget, but somebody took out Chuck Taylor, and then Trent taking the bullet from Big Bill in order to save Orange Cassidy. So kind of furthering that story, a potential dissension between best friends, which would suck if they broke up honestly. But nevertheless, Orange Cassidy and Swerve Strickland making it to the final two, and that's really where things get really fun. Some exciting stuff between the final two, including them being out on the outside on the apron, potentially being eliminated. Orange Cassidy ultimately eliminating Swerve, and kind of, no pun intended, swerving us all. You think he's gonna go for an orange punch, but instead he like lazily kicks Swerve's hand and on the apron, which I'm surprised. I haven't seen a lot more in battle royal type matches, but Orange Cassidy, he retains here, or proving to still be the workhorse and everything, and with the international championship. I don't think he's dropping it for a little while, but if he also took time off, I wouldn't blame him. Or he's definitely put in the work. Or again, definitely getting a major push, which is really, really cool to see. But next up was the unsanctioned match between Adam Cole and Chris Jericho. Oh, and Sabu was the special guest enforcer, and he only was there for like a portion of the match, like the opening of the match, and he's like gone for the rest of the match. It starts off with kind of a brawl between the members of the Jericho Appreciation Society and Roddy Strong, and they're taking out I think Sabu even goes for the table, but they're all led to the back, and then it's Adam Cole and Chris Jericho proper. And this match was decent. There was some like brutality and stuff up in here, but I think they could have went a whole lot harder with it. And especially with the ending, because the ending was really weird. It actually ended due to referee stoppage. So Adam Cole nailing Chris Jericho with, I think they call it like the boom, but I still sometimes call it the last shot, because that's what it was called in NXT. Hitting that first like with the regular knee, and then hitting it with the chain, in which Chris Jericho introduced the chain, and then with the handcuffs, and then Adam Cole handcuffed himself to Jericho after Jericho handcuffed Adam Cole. We'll also have to mention Britt Baker getting in and nailing Chris Jericho with the kendo stick, kind of getting her revenge there. Nailing Jericho, and then Saraya when she tried to get involved. But Adam Cole hitting the I think I'm just gonna call it the last shot, because the boom sounds kind of weird, but I know trademark and everything. But nailing Jericho with the last shot the first time around, then wrapping the chain, I should say, around the knee to nail him again. But then he like punches Jericho with like the hammer fist, and then the referee stops the match, which kind of felt like a weak ending, to be honest, like having to do referee stoppage. Now I get it, referee stoppage kind of tries to add to the brutality, but honestly it didn't really feel that like how am I trying to put this? It didn't feel as impactful as it could have and or should have. Like, honestly, the match should have just ended with Adam Cole with that second last shot, especially because the crowd did kind of pop when that happened. In which I do have to mention the crowd. The crowd was kind of weird tonight. Fluctuating in and out of caring and not caring, being silent oftentimes, but also being loud at other moments. It was kind of weird, the crowd dynamic here in Vegas. But yeah, I wish I would have ended a little bit better. But the match itself, I think, was pretty decent for the most part. Then next up was the tag team match for the AEW World Tag Team Championships, as FTR defended against Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal, and the special guest referee was Mark Briscoe. Which the story they conveyed up to this point, Mark Briscoe kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. He's on one hand kind of befriending Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal and their entire crew, which they had pretty much everyone out here. They had Karen Jarrett, they had Sandam Singh, they had Sanjay Dutt, of course, and Mark Briscoe having fought Jay Lethal in the past, which makes sense. But then also Mark Briscoe also befriending FTR. But after what unfolded the past couple weeks with Dax Harwood accidentally pile driving Mark Briscoe, and things of that nature, it was decided that Mark Briscoe decided he was going to call it right down the middle, which for the most part he pretty much did it up until the end, when and after Mark Briscoe was initially taken out with the guitar shot in typical Jeff Jarrett fashion, and then tried to eject Sanjay Dutt and Sandam Singh, which actually him ejecting Sanjay Dutt and Sandam Singh was actually the reason why then Aubrey Edwards comes out to try to replace Mark Briscoe, but then she was nailed with a guitar by Karen Jarrett, which, wow. Aubrey Edwards, props to her, when she needs to take a bump, she takes the bump. Another example I can give of that is when she got like annihilated, like kicked hard in the face by Ray Fenix. I forgot exactly which match it was. It was long before AEW, but yeah, when Aubrey Edwards needs to take a bump, she'll take a bump. So she definitely took this one like a champion. The guitar shot from Karen Jarrett, and then Mark Briscoe getting up then. Jeff Jarrett getting mad at Mark Briscoe for not counting fast enough, so slapping Briscoe, so Briscoe slaps him back. And then FTR takes out Jarrett to get the pin and the win, and allowing FTR to retain air. So kind of saw it coming, of course, with FTR retaining, but it was an interesting dynamic having Mark Briscoe there to see how he acted, and seeing that he was acting pretty impartial was pretty good. And that's normally how they do with like the special guest referee matches, is where they act impartial. They do call it down the middle until they're driven over the edge by one person, or one party I should say, going too far and forcing them to have to retaliate. And that's what we saw here. So there's that. Then next up was the ladder match. Or actually, I gotta talk about how I like the match between FTR and Jerry and Lethal. A bit overbooked, and Taz even said afterwards, a lot of moving parts. Taz, you're not supposed to be the one to say that. And you know it was a lot of moving parts when even the commentary has to call all of them out on it. But a lot of moving parts, but I think it was serviceable, and it told the story and everything. And then, of course, FCR embracing with Mark Briscoe at the end. But then, and was the ladder match for the AEW TNT Championship, as Wardlow battled against Christian Cage. Agent actually defeated Christian Cage. Cage retained here. Also, a lot of stuff happening. Luchasaurus and Arn Anderson getting involved, including Arn Anderson. And I don't know if he actually did bite down that hard on Luchasaurus' thumb, or if it was supposed to be the bite and then like a blood pack or something like that. At the fake blood that they do, but that added a level to it. Wardlow doing a whole swanton off the ladder, taking out Luchasaurus, and then Wardlow massive powerbomb to take out Christian Cage, each in order to win. And pretty solid match and pretty solid showing between the two. Who whether or not this feud continues from here, we're not sure. But yeah. Oh, speaking of feuds continuing, looks like on Dynamite we're gonna have Adam Cole teaming up with Britt Baker against Chris Jericho and Saraya. And speaking of Saraya, next up was Toni Storm battling Jamie Hayter for the AEW Women's World Championship, which Storm actually beat her with some help from Saraya and Ruby Soho, who of course ran interference against Jamie Hayter. Britt Baker taking out Saraya, but Ruby Soho still there to help out Toni Storm, and Toni Storm ultimately beating Jamie Hayter here. And I imagine this is to write off Jamie Hayter, as she is injured right now. So taking the women's championship and putting it on Toni Storm, which they brought up on commentary how Jamie Hayter won the championship from Toni Storm, and then Toni Storm now won it back from Jamie Hayter. I think over a year ago, which is crazy how it's been a year already that Jamie Hayter's been AEW World Champion. This is like the shortest like official marketed on the card match of the night at 3 minutes, and it's and you'll find out why. And as it's pretty much like Saraya and Ruby Soho beating down Hayter, and then Storm using that to get the win over Jamie Hayter. And I imagine that's probably to protect Hayter, as she's going to be out. But otherwise it's kind of okay match. Then next up, the House of Black had the open house rules match for 6-man tag, I should say, or trios match for the AEW World Trios Championships as they took on the Acclaimed. A couple things to note. For starters, I did not know this apparently wasn't supposed to be. Like I mentioned that the Acclaimed were going to take on the House of Black because that's what it said on the wiki. But I accidentally spoiled it, I guess, because they were treating it like it's an open challenge. Although the Acclaimed won that Battle Royal a little while back to earn an opportunity down the line. So, if anything, this is them getting their opportunity that they won. So why not just market it as that in the first place? Like the Acclaimed won the match. Okay, because you won the match, now you face the House of Black at Double or Nothing. But instead, it's treated like an open challenge, and the Acclaimed accepting the open challenge and cashing in the opportunity. So, whatever, I guess. But also, that rap, Max Caster, Max Caster, you little W, who making a lot of funny remarks, of course, as Max Caster often does. Platinum Max has, of course, but the one on Buddy was hilarious, bringing up how Buddy is essentially being cucked by Dominic Mysterio. Oh, of course, making reference to Rhea Ripley and Dominic Mysterio in WWE and everything, which is pretty funny. But nevertheless, the match itself was actually pretty good between the two sides. But the House of Black, of course, taking out the Acclaim after Malachi Black nailed the Black Mass on Billy Gunn. And so congrats to the House of Black on the retention there. And I imagine the House of Black might hold on to the trios titles for a while, honestly. But then next up was the AEW TBS Championship match as Jade Cargill defended against Ty Valkyrie and actually defeated her. Not gonna lie, this caught me off guard. I did not expect Cargill to defeat Valkyrie here, but she did. And also, as I was watching the match, and they mentioned that Ty Valkyrie would be able to use her finisher, the Road to Valhalla, in this match. Of course, the last time these two fought in the ring, Smart Mark Sterling banned the Road to Valhalla finisher, but this time around, Valkyrie able to use it, and then it hit me. Jade Cargill and Ty Valkyrie have the same finisher. It's just two different names. Jade's is called Jaded, and then Ty Valkyrie's is called the Road to Valhalla. And they're both look pretty much like the I don't know the exact name of it. I think it's supposed to be. No, I don't know the exact name of it, but pretty much like the Glam Slam that Beth Phoenix used to do. But pretty much here but yeah, so Jade Cargill actually surprising me by picking up the victory over Ty Valkyrie, and this was actually a pretty decent match. But then Smart Mark Sterling made the open challenge, saying Jade Cargill would take on anyone, anywhere. Here, of course, Jade at 60-0, and then Chris Statlander showed up. I was surprised by Valkyrie losing until Chris Statlander showed up, and I think it was Ryan Zane at Wrestle with Regret who mentioned it, how they're pretty much keeping the TBS Championship warm for Chris Statlander, who kept getting injured and everything. And sure enough, Statlander defeated Jade Cargill in about 48 seconds to win the TBS Championship. So congrats to Chris Statlander on winning the championship here and coming back with the return here at Double or Nothing. And then we get into our double main event, and as the first of these two matches is the AEW World Championship match, which was a choice, having the World Championship match not be the main event, and although I guess it makes sense in hindsight, and I'll explain why in a second. But MJF battled the Four Pillars collide, essentially. MJF battling Sammy Guevara, Darby Allin, and Jungle Boy Jack Perry, and actually defeating them, which was there any doubt? First things first, before I continue, congratulations to Sammy Guevara and Ty Mello, who are about to have a baby. So congrats to those two. They did it on the signs and everything, in which of course, in character, Sammy Guevara used to have like the signs he would come to the ring with. But yeah, so congrats to them. And this match was also really, really good. Like, and you knew it was going to be a good match going in. The build, say what you want about the build, how weak it kind of was, but the match itself was really, really good. But which I knew it would be. He, like I said, big fan of all four guys' body of work, and they definitely gave you just about everything. Very few respites, and one thing I liked about this match compared to like a lot of other multi-man matches is that there wasn't really too many moments where it was just one-on-one with other people on the outside. They did have a couple moments like that, but otherwise almost everyone was active at all times, actually doing stuff. A lot of multi-man spots, which I love oh so much. And even though you kind of knew MJF wasn't going to drop the AEW World Championship just yet, for a moment you're almost full like, wow, will they actually put the titles on one of these guys? But obviously not the case. But you can imagine, like, after this performance, you can imagine the other three guys, which of course Sammy Guevara, Darby Allin, and Jungle Boy, possibly becoming AEW World Champion later on down the line. But still, really awesome match. And the ending, some very nice ending. Jungle Boy having the AEW World Championship in hand, introduced by MJF, who was about to nail either him or Darby with the title. Jungle Boy holding the title in hand, thinking about hitting Darby Allin with it, but deciding not to, and it ultimately kind of cost him. And of course, kind of a callback to what Jungle Boy did at Revolution, which I reviewed. So if you're not ready, go check out that review, where Jungle Boy was thinking about the concerto, but and ultimately pulled the trigger on it after a little while of not being able to do it, not being in Jungle Boy's nature, and to see it kind of come back to haunt him a little bit. It also told a good story thread there. They're showing Jungle Boy's nobility and wanting to do it the right way, and ultimately MJF using the world title, stooping that low because it's MJF, of course. Him placing the title on Jungle Boy's Darby Allin went for the coffin drop, nailed on Jungle Boy, and also nailed the title, and then MJF rolling up Darby Allin in order to get the win. And nice bit of story threads there, and kind of some character exploration of Jungle Boy, which thankfully they've been kind of exploring his character ever since that aforementioned match at Revolution, and I imagine they're going to explore it more. But yeah, so like I said, still a really good match, and honestly, later on down the line, and if they wanted to pop the world title on any of these guys, I don't think I'd be mad at it. All four are really talented, but I think they have to build the other three up just a little bit more before they decide to pop the world title on them. But Jungle Boy, if he got like a TNT championship, I think that'd be pretty cool to see, and maybe that's what's next for Jungle Boy. But we'll have to see what's next for all these guys, and we'll have to see what MJF's next opponent will be. And then in the main event, hence the match they decided to have main event, as the Blackpool Combat Club battled the Elite and actually defeated them, and we'll get to why. A couple things I have to of note that I have to make note of and talk about. First of all, this match was 50 seconds shorter than the AEW World Championship match, so do with that information what you will. Well, second off, the band that they had playing the Blackpool Combat Club's theme, which, first of all, the band, not that great, but then the singer in potential blackface. Oh boy, that's a spicy little pickle. Well, now how he was wearing a mask and everything, and like one of those like face masks, not like down here, but like the one covering the eye, kind of like a masquerade mask. But then he painted the rest of his face black with the red stripe towards the chin, which like the first time when I first saw it, my jaw almost dropped. I was like, whoa. And I remembered Platinum Max's rap from earlier in the show. Oh, where he kind of accused Malachi Black of getting away with blackface, kind of as a joke. But then I thought, wow, this is the actual kind of blackface. Now, do I think blackface was his intention? Probably not, but it was not a good look. And seeing like how everybody else was reacting to it was like, wow. But then they kept playing the Wild theme song, aka John Moxley song, aka the song for the entire Blackpool Combat Club. Apparently, why don't the Blackpool Combat Club have their own dedicated song? I have no idea. They kept playing it for like the first few moments of the match. They like looped it 2 different times until finally the Young Bucks finally kicked the singer, and that was the band. The band was pretty much done from there. They served their time. Young Bucks, this is why you are one of the best teams in the world. But and honestly, that band was pretty annoying with them playing the song, even as the Combat Club and the Elite were fighting, and after they were kicked, not gonna lie, after they were kicked by the Young Bucks, I thought about buying an Elite shirt right then and there. And honestly, I probably could use an Elite shirt at some point, but I thought about buying it right then and there. But nevertheless, the rest of the match was definitely insanity. John Moxley wasn't kidding when he said this match would be insane. Just all kinds of car crash action, but not in a bad way. Like all kinds of insanity, brawling all around the arena. A lot of bloody spots. Moxley getting cut open almost immediately, which isn't surprising. But seeing like all the crazy stuff of that happened in the match, thumbtacks going into Matt Jackson's foot, and Matt Jackson also being pile driven into a car, or the poker chip with the barbed wire and the glass into it. It was insane. The thumbtacks being important to Matt Jackson's mouth. And I think it was Matt Jackson as well who had a freaking like explosive in his shoe, which wow, when it first went off, when he kicked I think it was Moxley, he kicked with the explosive. I was like I was like, what the and someone made a joke that had more explosive than the barbed wire death match between Moxley and Kenny Omega. So I'm glad to see people are still bringing that match up. So just insanity all throughout. Just a lot of crazy stuff, which you knew was going to be. And I guess it also kind of makes sense for this to be the main event, because why not end Double or Nothing in an insane way? But also, this story between the Blackpool Combat Club and the Elite, including Hangman Page rejoining the group at least for tonight. The story I think was built up probably the most out of all of these storylines, so I think it actually kind of makes sense. So all kinds of insane stuff. But in the end, Don Callis is getting involved, trying to attack Omega, almost getting his comeuppance until he's attacked by Konosuke Takeshita. Yep, Konosuke Takeshita turning his back on Kenny Omega, and by extension the Elite, and now being fully aligned and heel with Don Callis and potentially the rest of the Blackpool Combat Club. It's a twist that honestly, he at first, like the initial shock, you're like, wow, I didn't see that coming. But then when you think about it, it's like, oh, okay, that actually makes quite a bit of sense. And because Konosuke Takeshita was aligned with Don Callis, not necessarily Kenny Omega, as we were led to believe. It was kind of almost like a red herring, him being there for Kenny Omega, more so just on the wishes of Don Callis. And now Takeshita aligned with Don Callis, which Don Callis, of course, turned his back on Kenny Omega, I should say. So now Takeshita and Omega are now feuding as well. Also, Takeshita involved in this as well, getting involved in this now on the side of the Blackpool Combat Club, which is weird considering the Combat Club attacked him too. But Nigel has to catch align himself with Callus, who may or may not be aligned with the Blackwood Combat Club. Where will this lead? Obviously, the story is far, far from over now. I think it was this one where I said the feud should end here, but now that this extra wrinkle is there, I guess not. I guess they're gonna keep this going for a little bit. Someone I forget who it might have been a couple people alluded to potentially CM Punk coming in to even the odds and leading to a blood and guts match between the two sides. But yeah, things are far, far from over. But ladies and gentlemen, that is the show, and what a crazy show it was. We saw some really good stuff, some not as great stuff, but my prediction was right. This ended before Battleground. And in fact, I think I knew Battleground was over, or because I checked Instagram and saw the result of the NXT title match, which I won't spoil just yet, but I sadly spoiled for myself. And that I checked, and that I saw the result during the World Championship match, so I knew that match, that pay per view, I should say, was gonna be over before Double or Nothing. But so that is going to do it for this review. If I had to pick a best and worst match, or I guess strongest and least strong match, or my favorite least favorite match, however you want to slice it, for my favorite match, or what I consider the best match of the night, honestly, it's kind of a toss-up between the last two matches. The last two matches are really, really strong, kind of for different reasons. The four-way for the AEW World Championship, all four guys getting time to shine, and a lot of really cool stuff. And then the main event, the insanity and the twist ending. If I had to pick a kind of the weakest match of the night, I might have to go with Tony Storm versus Jamie Hayter, only because it's like the shortest I can't call it shortest official match, because Statlander versus Jade Cargill is an official match. It saw a title change, but I think I might have to go with Tony Storm versus Jamie Hayter. But ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for this review. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please do me a favor: like, comment, subscribe, share it with your friends, turn on post notifications so you know every time I upload a video, so you can see as soon as it drops. Let me know in the comments below your thoughts on the event and your thoughts on my review of the event. Did you like, dislike the event? Did you like, dislike my review of the event? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you guys later. Peace. Alright, hello, citizens of the Nigelverse. It is Nigel here once again, and this is another wrestling review. So, today was NXT Vengeance Day 2023, and we're gonna review it. Like I said, for this year, I'm gonna try to review every single pay-per-view event, or in WWE's case, a premium live event, and yes, that includes the NXT stuff. So, Vengeance Day tonight, the first NXT premium live event, and to not be held at where they were previously. This is the first time since TakeOver Portland back in 2020 that NXT is traveling. The Capitol Wrestling Center. I couldn't think of the name of it, but this event took place, I should say, at the Spectrum Center in Charlotte, North Carolina, and naturally, Charlotte Flair, or the current SmackDown Women's Champion, did the opening narration for the stuff we would see in the show and everything. And so for first time that NXT's been on the road, in terms of like premium live event / pay-per-view, anyway, but first time that they took over a stadium in a way. So does this mean we'll be going back to NXT TakeOver events? Possibly. But without further ado, let's get right into it. For starters, as always, I'm not professional wrestling reviewer or analyst, just a man who enjoys a good time, and for the most part, I had a pretty good time watching the show and everything. You kind of take the good with the bad, but which there honestly wasn't a whole lot like bad on the show, but Uh, but we'll get into that and everything. And I'm gonna try something new with like these reviews and everything. If it's like if it's if it's just like a singular match, which I often do, I'm not really gonna I'm not really gonna do this, but for like a full event like this one, I'm gonna talk about the match I like the most and the match I like the least. Starting with the North American Championship, as Wes Lee defended and defeated Dijak, and you talk about a barn burner. This match was awesome. Like, this was such a fun match, and I like absolutely loved and adored this match. And by the way, for those of you who haven't seen this review before, for those of you who have, you know how this works. But for those of you who haven't, pretty much I'm going to be talking about what I liked and what I disliked about each match and everything. But this match, it was hard to find stuff to dislike because these two guys definitely tore the house down, and definitely he a bit different but somewhat similar in styles. Wesley, both men very like acrobatic and everything, very much high flyers, but Dijak more of the size and strength advantage. Although Wesley showing off his strength a few times in this match, which was pretty cool to see. It ended with Dijak about to nail Wesley with I think this time it was gonna be a moonsault, but before it was like a senton, harkening back to, ironically, Takeover Portland when Keith Lee and Dominic Dijakovic battled in that awesome match, also for the North American title. So I think it was done on purpose, but Wesley was trapped in the chair. Dijak was about to dive onto him, but Wesley saved by Tony D'Angelo and Stax. And then Wesley, he hitting his, I guess, handspring overhead kick. I don't think the move has an official name, but yeah, so he hit that, and Wesley walked away the victor, but definitely a fantastic match. Definitely go out of your way to check out that match because they definitely tore the house down. And I'm gonna be honest, as I talked about, I was gonna say which match was the best and which one was the worst of the night, at least in my opinion. And this match definitely the best match of the night. The other matches were okay, pretty good, but they could not compare to this one. Like what a way to kick off the show. Oh, and definitely gave it like that familiar NXT feel here, and I'm sure the crowd in Charlotte was happy to have NXT back on the road so they can see awesome stuff like this in person. If I had to find something to nitpick in this match, it'd probably be that Wesley kind of got help a little bit in order to put away Dijak. Although obviously Wesley probably didn't ask for the help, and Wesley didn't. Normally, what they do if it's like a situation like that where the face gets helped out by the heels, the face looks like upset, like they're upset that like they were helped out by the heels. They didn't want the help or anything. But Wesley, that didn't really happen. He just celebrated and then they moved on. So I'm guessing this is gonna be continued on Tuesday. Of course, Tony D'Angelo also kind of feuding with Dijak at the moment. But yeah, so really fantastic way to start off the show for sure. Next up was for the NXT Women's Tag Team Championships as Fallon Henley and Kiana James, who were accompanied by Josh Briggs and Brooks Jensen, took on Katana Chance and Kaden Carter, who were champions. Interesting tidbit. They talked about how Katana Chance and Kaden Carter are the longest reigning women's tag team champions throughout the entire company, which honestly is impressive, I'll say, but not that impressive when you consider there's only two women's tag team championships in WWE. There's the main roster one and the NXT ones, but still longest reigning. But it actually came to an end tonight, and Fallon Henley and Kiana James from what I've been able to gather from what they were talking about, bitter rivals turn tag team partners, kind of like an odd couple pairing, which is something that they've done before or, in wrestling. It's nothing really new, but this one was okay, not as good as the other one, as the opener, but I guess a match like this, you gotta give the crowd a chance to catch their breath, and that opener is definitely gonna be hard to top. But on other interesting sort of clash of conflicts here, because Fallon Henley wants to win the championships legit. She wants to do it the legit way. Kiana James ain't having none of that, and actually, unknowing to Fallon, actually helps her out. She grabs Kaden Carter's arms as Fallon rolls her up, and then it allows them to get the win and the NXT Women's Tag Team Championships. So congratulations to them. But it's weird because it wasn't addressed. Like Fallon, we saw it in the replay and everything, but neither Fallon nor Josh Briggs or Brooks Jensen, none of them acknowledged it. None of them said, "Hey, wait a minute, you doing kind of like a dirty tactic there. What the heck? I want to win it the legit way." None of that. Still, I guess maybe it'll be addressed on Tuesday, yeah, on NXT. But otherwise, okay match. A little bit too much arguing between Fallon and Kiana, but not as much as there probably could have been. It could have probably been a lot more. There was some, but otherwise, yeah. So congrats to them as a team in winning the tag team titles. The next matchup was Carmelo Hayes with Trick Williams going against Apollo Crews in a 2 out of 3 falls match. Not gonna lie, I was expecting a little bit more for this one. Like both men still put on a really, really solid match, in my opinion, but not as good as it could have been, because I really, really enjoy watching both these guys in the ring. I've always really been a big fan of Apollo Crews, like a big man who can move. That's always something that's been really cool to me. Carmelo Hayes loves some of the stuff I'm seeing with him. I haven't seen a whole lot of Carmelo Hayes stuff. I've seen some of his matches, but seeing him in the ring and seeing how these two can and have put on really, really good matches in the past, this one fell a little flat in my opinion, but it was still okay for the most part. Dabba-Kato returning to NXT to help out Apollo Crews at first, but it was for naught. Dabba-Kato took out Trick Williams as Trick tried to cheat with the chair and everything, but we'll say that 5 times fast. But Carmelo still took out Apollo and clean sweeped him 2-0, which was interesting that they went that route. And then afterwards, Dabba-Kato turned on Apollo Crews. So, first of all, nice of them to reference like the history between Dabba-Kato and Apollo Crews. Of course, Dabba-Kato was Commander Aziz hanging out with Apollo Crews while Apollo was in his heel Nigerian royalty run, and where he was, Intercontinental Champion and everything. And so, good to see them reference that there, and it looks like they're going to turn that into an angle. But yeah, interesting that Apollo Crews got swept in this match, 2-0. Next up was the Fatal 4-Way for the NXT Tag Team Championships, as the New Day, the NXT Tag Team Champions, defended against Gallus, Pretty Deadly, and Chase University. A couple questions. First of all, where's Joe Coffey? It was Mark Coffey and Wolfgang in the match, representing Gallus, but Joe Coffey nowhere to be found, not even accompanying them to the ring. He might have been injured. I couldn't find anything online concerning injury for Joe Coffey, so if anyone knows, please let me know. Probably means I gotta watch NXT more regularly and everything. the New Day, of course, defending Pretty Deadly, the former tag team champions, lost them to the New Day, and then Chase University, who kind of have the home field advantage and everything, with Andre Chase being from the region of Charlotte, North Carolina. But my other question is, why do they like whenever it's like a fatal four way match, it's either one of two ways. Either it's a situation where all four guys, all four teams have one guy each in the ring all at the same time and they tag out, or it's only two guys in the ring and then you can tag in a team and everything. And they went with the second one for this match. I hate that format. It's so dumb. Like, it is so annoying, but still, there's a lot of really cool action throughout in the match. Gallus putting Duke Hudson through the announce table. Surprisingly, Gallus picking up the win over the and actually pinning Xavier Woods in the New Day, so they're the new NXT Tag Team Champions. The way they were building up and everything, it seemed like Chase U was going to walk out the champions, but that didn't seem to be the case. It's Gallus winning here. Congrats to them. Yeah, just the way they did the Fatal 4-Way, like, it is so annoying. Like, why did they do that? It's not the first time they've done it, and I already know it's not going to be the last, but it's really weird how they do it like that. Like, why not just have all four guys in the ring and everything? But another funny part of the match is where Pretty Deadly taking a bulk of the offense. Gallus getting shots in on them, the New Day getting shots in on them, Chase University getting shots in on them. Like, it was actually kind of funny. I think it was Kit Wilson who said, like, "Stop chopping me." But yeah, so pretty good match. But that format of the Fatal 4-Way tag team match, not a big fan of that. Next up, Roxanne Perez is in a triple threat match for the NXT Women's Championship. She defends against both Gigi Dolan and JC Jane of Toxic Attraction, and props to them, because even with their leader Mandy Rose being released and everything, Toxic Attraction, they're still finding things to do. They're in this situation, and something they built up, not just in the build up to this match, but in the match themselves, is the whole will they, won't they. Will they turn on each other and fight each other? Because that's usually how it goes, and it's been teased for weeks, starting with that battle royal to determine the number one contender, which is how we got here in the first place, with JC Jane and Gigi Dolan eliminating each other in the match, and then this triple threat was made, and it seemed like Jane and Dolan were gonna be feuding against each other, but then they swerved, they attacked Roxanne Perez, and they're pretty much gonna take her out, and every woman for herself after that. And that's kind of what they did throughout the match. Both of them went after Roxanne, and then eventually they came to blows, and then it turned to a triple threat proper. And really cool spot in the ending where they set up the table, and they can, because it's no disqualification, which the fans were begging for, the "We Want Tables" chant. I feel like almost every show, whether it's Raw, SmackDown, NXT, or the pay-per-view / premium live events, the fans always want tables. Tables are fun for the most part, except when they don't break. Shout out to Botchamania. To see some excellent not table breaks. Hashtag I am the table. But they got their table spot where Roxanne was going for her. Not JC was going in for a suplex, and then Roxanne countered, and then she was going for pop rocks. But then Gigi, he tried to intercept. Roxanne kicks her. Gigi goes through the table. Then Roxanne hits the pop rocks, super pop rocks actually, off the turnbuckle, the top rope and everything. And, it was more like the middle rope, because she flipped down onto the middle rope and then did the pop rocks from there. But it's still a pretty cool moment, and Roxanne retains against both Gigi and JC. If I had to nitpick again, and I feel like Like, it was a little too much, leaning into the whole will they, won't they come to blows and everything, and but that's kind of normal for like multi-man matches where it's like every man slash woman for herself, where her like usually they tease the tension of this team they're in there, it's every person for themselves, they're gonna turn on each other. Either it's a situation where they don't turn on each other till kind of late, and for Gigi and JC here, it was kind of during the midpoint of the match, or they do like Shawn Michaels in had Survivor Series 2009 when DX was in a triple threat against John Cena for the W Championship, which that match I reviewed, so if you haven't already, go check out that match. But where Shawn, in like the first 30-second, it's probably even less time than that, took out Triple H with Sweet Chin Music. So it usually goes one of two ways. And that's what we saw here. But otherwise, pretty decent match, pretty good match. And then the main event in the steel cage, Braun Breaker defending the NXT Championship against Grayson Waller, and Braun Breaker successfully defended it against Grayson Waller, though you kind of saw it coming. Grayson, of course, attacks Braun, starting off the match and everything, and then they go from there. And in the hype package, they show Braun like trying to go after Grayson being inside Braun's head, causing Braun to like take himself out through the barricade. Braun trying to spear Grayson through the barricade, but he ends up wiping out himself through the barricade. But and then there was the whole rope incident the last time they fought for the NXT Championship at New Year's Evil. So Shawn Michaels says, steel cage match, there has to be a winner. Surprisingly, the option to escape the cage to win, not present in this match. The cage is more so just to make sure that they don't get out and to make sure there is a definitive winner. But you can't win by escaping the cage, which is kind of weird, admittedly. But who might have questioned the Heartbreak Kid? But a pretty evenly matched for the most part, with Grayson outsmarting Braun on a lot of fronts and getting a lot of offense in. Braun using a lot of that power, that speed, and everything. Braun with a suplex to Grayson off the cage after Grayson was going for a diving attack off the cage. Braun suplexed him off, nailed with the spear after Grayson told him to hit him. And that's exactly what Braun did. Braun gets to beat the crap out of Grayson and retain, for the most part, in this match. And then afterwards, it says Braun celebrating on top of the cage. Carmelo and Trick walk out. Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams walk out. So it looks like the next challenger is going to be Carmelo Hayes, at least for the NXT Championship. And it's interesting because if you remember back in 2021 in War Games, it was Team NXT, or Team NXT Black and Gold, I should say, which was Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano, Pete Dunne, and LA Knight against Team NXT 2.0, which was Braun Breaker, Grayson Waller, Carmelo Hayes, and Tony D'Angelo. So this means that with this match that happened tonight, and then the match that potentially is going to be happening between Braun Breaker and Carmelo Hayes, that means Braun will have fought two of his teammates from that War Games match. And now we're just waiting on the hat trick, and Braun versus Tony D'Angelo subsequently, which honestly wouldn't be a bad thing. Like Tony, I feel like Braun and Tony, definitely two of the guys, and Carmelo, and Grayson to an extent, and definitely guys that really helped carry NXT 2.0. But as for this match itself, I thought it was okay. Them being mostly evenly matched for the most part was pretty nice. A little bit too much cowardice from Grayson, but otherwise it was a pretty decent match. In terms of like my favorite and least favorite matches of the night, for my favorite, I got, of course, I mentioned that NXT North American Championship match with Wesley taking on Dijak. Definitely a really, really solid match. Both men they just went to war, and they definitely put on a fantastic match against each other. It was high energy. It was a lot of fun to watch. It's just beautiful, beautiful stuff. Bit spotty at times, but that's not a bad thing. I feel like a lot of people give like a lot of spots a bad name because they're just doing a lot of high moves, and doing a lot of like the big moves just to get the crowd to pop, which honestly is kind of wrestling in its essence. You want the crowd to like be excited for what's going on, so spots like that, so spots and everything. And I don't frown upon them like most people do for whatever reason uh, that they do it. But in terms of my least favorite match, the NXT Women's Tag Team Championship, and it's funny that the matches happen one right after the other. But yeah, it was an okay match, just kind of the weakest on the show, to be honest. But otherwise, pretty solid show for the most part, I thought. But that is going to do it for this review. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did enjoy, please do me a favor. Like, comment, subscribe, share it with your friends, turn on post notifications so you know every time I upload a video so you can see as soon as it drops. Let me know in the comments below, did you like, dislike this event? NXT Vengeance Day. Did you dislike my review of it? And let me know why in the comments. Do you think NXT will do the takeover events again? Now that they're traveling, Stand and Deliver is going to be in Los Angeles. It's meaning they're going to be right alongside the main show, WrestleMania in Hollywood. And if Braun Breaker and Carmelo Hayes do in fact face off for the title, which hopefully they do you think it's going to be a good match? I think it's going to be a really, really solid match. Sometimes the different styles are a good thing. Of course, Carmelo, more athletic, high flyer, or all that stuff. Meanwhile, Braun, more like the power guy. Braun is very athletic and is able to do some high flying moves, but definitely more of like a strength and power guy. But nevertheless, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you guys later. Peace.